asking you, you're going to know right away what are the areas that you want to focus on. So our training tonight is all about overcoming resistance and, blocks. If you're feeling blocked, and this last year was sure a test for everybody, right? With COVID and all the changes, we had to really get used to embracing a lot of change and embracing it fast and enduring those changes. And it's going to continue. So many people have said, oh, I can't wait until this year is over, kind of a thing. And we get into, out of 2020. Well, that's not necessarily going to be a whole lot different. We are in a different world today. Would you guys agree? So it's like we're not in the same world that we were in, and it's going to continue. So what it is it's about learning how to navigate and embrace those changes. And so I want to start by talking about resistance. I actually looked up the definition to just see what it said in the dictionary. And it said, a force that tends to oppose or retard motion. So basically resistance is something that keeps you from moving forward and having forward motion. Another definition is a process in which the ego opposes the conscious recall of anxiety producing events. And so when I read that one, I believe that second definition is really the key to what causes a lot of the resistance. The ego mind kicks in to protect you or keep you safe and comfortable in status quo. It wants to keep you in a safe place. That's the ego's job. So it wants to keep you from getting hurt. So oftentimes it keeps you in fight or flight or fear. So we have had an amygdala hijack. The amygdala is the front part of the brain. And, back in the day, in the caveman days, we needed that to be able to keep us safe, keep us alive from the elements and being eaten by animals and all of those kinds of things for our instincts. But we are now at a place where we have kind of defective programming in a way. We have defective software going on in the brain. And so instead of being in this amygdala hijack and being in fight or flight or fear, we're going to talk about some ways to get out of that. First of all, you have to realize that you're in it, and meaning that the smallest things can set you off and trigger you. A lot of it has to do with, past conditions in your life, things that have happened, programming that you've received from media, parents, authoritative figures, things like that. So again, the ego is wanting to keep you in that safe place. So oftentimes it prevents you from moving forward. So if you're feeling stuck, it could be your resistance, it's your ego. So the very best thing that you can do if you're in resistance is to get a better feeling state emotionally. Get into a better emotional feeling state. If you push through and you just continue to stuff yourself through it, which is basically what I did a lot of my years, is just work with discipline, just make it happen, just go for it and push, push, push. If you do that from a place of resistance, you're not in a state of consciousness that's going to give you any kind of sustainable results. What happens is you're always going to have to keep pushing and, stuffing yourself through things to be able to maintain whatever you created from that emotional state. So it's really important to, April and I talk about this all the time, like meditate for a few minutes, take a breather, get into a better state of mind or consciousness to create from. And so when you get to that feel good state, you're now in alignment with a higher power, which can then work with you and through you. And you'll be working more from a place of attraction instead of efforting. Efforting is the old way. Okay. That was how we got a lot of things done back in the 80s. Okay. But we're in a different time today. We're in a place of really working from attraction and attracting to you that which you want instead of having to be efforting all the time. And efforting, it doesn't mean you're not going to put in effort. And it doesn't mean it's going to be easy, because easy means little or no effort. It means that you have to be willing to take inspired action and take those steps to move forward. But instead of just pushing and trying to force things to happen, that's not sustainable. And I can tell you that because I did my business that way for a long time and I got places, but it wasn't as fun, And one of my mentors one time said, if you miss the joy of it, you miss all of it. So I prefer to work from attraction and, put in inspired effort, but from a feel good state. And we're going to talk about how to get there. So I saw something else that you know how it is when you're getting ready to teach a class or you're on a topic, a lot of things start showing up to support that. So I found this, I don't know where I found it. Maybe it was on Facebook, maybe it was on the internet, but it said, you are not stuck. You are just committed to certain patterns of behavior because they helped you in the past. Now, those behaviors have become more harmful than helpful. The reason why you can't move forward is because you keep applying an old formula to a new level in your life. So change the formula to get a different result. I just like that. I liked how it was worded. Another thing that we've said in Mary Kay, I don't know that it's the best languaging, but it's new level, new devil. Every time you reach a new level, you have a different set of challenges to master and overcoming. You know, like when you start as a brand new consultant and you kind of master that skincare class, some of the basic skills of the business booking, coaching, selling, team building, then you start working with a team, and then you have leadership skills, and then you move into directorship, and it's a whole nother set. You're learning how to balance the different areas of the business, you know, the customer side and the leadership side. And then as a national, you're leading the leaders, and it's a whole new level, new devil. So just understand that you're going to keep going. And Mary Kay used to say, if you're green, you're growing. If you're ripe, you're rotten. So keep moving forward, keep growing, keep trying new things. And Mary Kay always said, there's no such thing as failure in Mary Kay. The only way that you can fail is if you quit when you're down. So she said, if you become a top director, get your pink Cadillac and you want to quit, okay. But she said, don't quit when you're down, because then it robs you of your confidence moving forward. So I have heard this quote over and over again in Mary Kay, that when you're in a pattern of doing the same thing over and over again, and it's not working, it's like banging your head against the wall, and you need to pivot, turn direction instead of moving, you know, bumping into the same walls. In other words, do something different to get different results, like what we talked about earlier. So what does being blocked mean? Being blocked means there's something unseen stopping us from doing what we want to do. Maybe it's a belief or an emotion or a certain mindset, with fear being the most likely. And in Mary Kay, one of the things that I've heard over and over again, fear means false evidence appearing real. What we fear the most is never going to happen 99% of the time. And so we can make it happen. We can draw it to us, because if we continue to fear something, it's in our vibrational vortex. And so we attract and magnetize things to us. If you think about something that you don't want to happen enough, you can actually manifest it in your life. We are co-creators. So if you're feeling blocked, we're going to go through, we're going to ask ourselves some questions. First, think of something that you, like a to-do item on your list. Maybe it's been there for quite a while. So if you keep carrying it over and carrying it over to the next day, the first question is asked, do I want to do this? Do I even want to do this? And if you want to do it, then you can ask yourself some of the following questions. Are my action steps too big? This is one of the biggest culprits, is that if your goal or action taking you too far out of your comfort zone and making you feel so uncomfortable that it's stopping you in your tracks. So don't get me wrong, feeling discomfort when you're doing new things is good. It helps you to grow. But if the action is too big, then we can end up not wanting to do it at all. And so it's kind of like an all or nothing. And I found myself in that pattern at different points in life. So breaking it down into actionable steps can help you start to get some forward momentum and motion. Mary Kay always used to say, inch by inch, it's a cinch. Yard by yard, it's hard. And then another quote, you've probably already heard this, unless you're brand new in Mary Kay, is, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So break it down, ask yourself, what would be my next step? What would be my first step if you're breaking it down like that? And then the third part of that question, if you're procrastinating something over and over again, am I living somebody else's expectation or trying to replicate what they're doing? And so seeing the success of other people and then wanting to do it just because they are, or just because you know you can, it can pull you from your own original vision that you've had for your life or for your business. And I've been caught up in that track. So a lot of what I'm sharing tonight has been my own experience. It's so easy to get lost in somebody else's vision for us. And if you grew up where your parents had ideas about what you should be or what you should do, and you got validation for following their plan for your life, it can create a lifelong pattern of doing things, again, just because you're seeking validation or approval from others. And so if it's not your goal, don't have it. Exclamation point. If it's not your goal, don't have it. You know, I've been in Mary Kay for a really long time, 32 years this month. And there have been times when the company has promoted red jacket, red jacket, red jacket, star consultant, then directors, 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 everybody become directors, then national directors. It's whatever the company is needing for the growth. But you know, one of the things that you can get caught up in is I'm going to follow the track of the company rather than really stopping and connecting to your own vision and your own goal. If you don't want it, you're not going to do it. You're going to find excuses not to do it. You're going to sabotage. You might say that you're trying, okay, that you're doing your best. But again, anything you absolutely, absolutely want in your life, think about it. If there's anything you've ever really, really, really wanted in life, you've been able to make it happen. Sometimes it's about divine timing. Sometimes it is you've needed to learn new skills, or, you know, there's lessons along the way that maybe stopped you for a little bit. So understand that you are co-creating your experience. You're the architect of your own reality and your own economy. Okay. So in other words, what you can make and what you can accomplish in your life and in your business. So really just, you know, don't live anybody else's idea or expectation for you. Have your own goal and vision. And that's the beautiful thing about Mary Kay. We all get to come in for different reasons. We're drawn into Mary Kay for different reasons. Life circumstances may change, and there may be different things that motivate us at different times and different things that we want. You get to choose that for yourself. Don't take anybody else's you know, idea, you know, or plan for your life, and because they think that you should do it or could be good at it, and put that kind of pressure on yourself, because you will work against yourself if you have competing intentions like that. And then 4, has this been on my list for far too long? Okay, that's a good indicator. You can look into that. If the items on your to-do list are just not being completed day after day after day, and you have to keep moving them forward to the next day's list over and over again, because Mary Kay taught us to do a 6 most important things to do list, not 60, just 6, just to begin with, and then work that list in order of priority, not convenience. Okay. But if you're having to move it forward day after day, it can really drag you down and drain your energy that you need to move forward. So are these actions, you know, are these the actions that have to be done specifically by you? One of the biggest things that I've learned in Mary Kay is to really get at delegating, to be a master delegator. So can you delegate certain things to somebody else? If there are actions that need to be done only by you, and there are things that are going to add value to your business or your clients or your life, then get it done first on the list. You will have such a huge sense of accomplishment throughout that day. It'll give you the power and the energy to move forward, and you'll feel so good about yourself. There's a whole book about that called Eat That Frog. And in that little book, it's about, you know, out of your list of things, do the hardest thing first. Get it out of the way. If you're an early morning person, if it's something you can do, get it off your list first off. And again, that's going to give you the energy to carry forward, and it's going to make you feel awesome about accomplishing all the other things on your list. And so delegating is a really good thing. A piece of advice, this is from my ex-husband's mom, because he was going through medical school. And this actually stuck with me throughout my entire life after I heard this. She said, you know, whenever he would be in resistance to all the studying and the book reading and the learning, she would say the only way, and he had this taped on his desk, the only way as yet known to complete a hard task is to set to work and do it. And Mary Kay always said starting is half done. So if you find yourself being a procrastinator, sit and just start. Okay. Sometimes that's a whole nother topic, but sometimes procrastination is about, you know, having perfect pictures or being a perfectionist. And that's not realistic, right? You do the best you can, and you get started and you move forward. And that's when the creative process starts. Okay. Action, by the way, breeds motivation. You don't wait until you're motivated to do it. You do what you need to do if it's important for you in order to achieve your goals. So you don't have to do it forever, but it's a good idea to open yourself up to trying new things. Okay. But I love that quote. The only way as yet known to complete a hard task is to set to work and do it. Because usually it's not even that hard. It's like the task really wasn't even that hard. It's just that you built it up and made it so big in your mind that you stopped yourself from ever getting started. I'm talking about myself too right now. Okay. So let me see.
Read that one more time, Denise, please.
Oh, the quote? Sure. Okay. The only way as yet known to complete a hard task is to set to work and do it. Okay. My notes went out of order. When I was printing them, I forgot to put the thing out and they just went flying everywhere. So, okay, get everything back in order here. Okay, here's some more, some other things that may be holding you back and some ideas for some steps that you can take in getting unstuck. And get your paper out because I'm going to have you write down. We're not going to take a lot of time to do this, but I'm going to have you write down a few things to be able to work on to help you get unstuck. Okay, so number one, maybe you're in the mindset of not enough. Okay. Like maybe you never have enough. And if you look at what you have with a sense of not enough or always wanting, anything more that you get is never going to be enough, right? You're never going to have enough if you're trying to fill something, some kind of a hole inside with outer things. And there's nothing wrong with manifesting things on the material plane. That's not what I'm saying, but it's about your energy and your consciousness behind it. Okay. So, but if you look at what you have with a sense of gratitude, you'll always feel that you have more than you need. And then you're coming from a place of more than enough. And it puts you in a space of being able to attract more of what you want. So it's what is the energy that you're coming from? Are you coming from a place of gratitude for what you have? Then you're not coming from scarcity. So take a quick second and write down what are 5 things in your life right now that you're most grateful for. I'll give you guys a couple of minutes to do this. This will get the balls rolling for you. Write down 5 things in your life. It could be related to Mary Kay, or it could just be in your life. So your life or business that you're grateful for right now. Gratitude is the key to a lot of the things that we're going to be talking about tonight. Okay. So 5 things you're most grateful for. And when you start thinking about what you're grateful for, you start thinking, gosh, I really do have everything I need. Maybe you don't have everything you want. But when you come, it's kind of, you can't really get to self-actualization if you don't have your basic security needs met. But most of you have your basic security needs met. If you have food and if you have a home, you have clothing. Those are the basic necessities. Everything else is gravy. All right, number 2, you experience limitation or limited thinking. And limitation exists only in your mind. If you use your imagination and exercise your determination, your possibilities will become limitless. There's so many different things that we have control over that we can take into action on in our Mary Kay business. And many of them are just so that we can learn different tools and experiences. It doesn't mean we have to do them all, but the possibilities are endless. And so write down right now 3 areas where you feel like you're limited. And you're later, what you're going to do is create some positive affirmations to overcome those limited thinking, limited thoughts. So limitation could be, I don't have enough of fill in the blank. Sometimes it's money, sometimes it is support. I don't have, consistent transportation, whatever that is, anywhere where you're feeling limited in your life. Just jot down some things that first come to mind. But again, limitation, it's kind of an illusion. There's more than enough of anything and everything we could ever want to go around. We're the only ones that can keep us from having, being, and doing everything that we want to have, be, and do here. That's my belief. And so I'm going to go out on a limb. And some of you I've shared this with, but there is a meditation that my husband and I do together every morning, maybe, 6 out of 7 days a week. I do it every day. And it's called Soul Sync, SOULSYNC, Soul Sync. Can somebody put that in the chat? And it's O&O Academy, O&O Academy Soul Sync. And if you're into, meditating and getting your mind quiet and that kind of thing, this is something that is, first of all, it's very relaxing. It gets you into a relaxed state of mind, and you can kind of feel your body just kind of vibing a little higher. And then, you're doing different things with your fingers. So you're engaging a lot of different things in the brain. And then at the end, you're opening up to the limitless field of consciousness. You're really connecting. And I'm all about connecting to a higher power. So I'm going to be talking about that throughout the class tonight. But this is the most amazing meditation. When people ask me where to begin, this is my favorite one. I've been doing it probably for a couple years now. All right. So if you're interested in something like that, that would be a good thing. And you'll start to experience why it's called Soul Sync. And I've been doing it for probably maybe going on 3 years, 2.5 years. You'll start to experience all kinds of cool synchronicities in your life. That's what the sync stands for. By really connecting to everybody, when you connect to the all that is, you're opening up to the limitless field of consciousness that we all have access to. So we get ideas, inspiration, all the people and the resources that you're needing to accomplish will come your way. So I highly recommend that if it's something that you're into. Okay. Number 3, maybe you lack confidence. Maybe that's stopping you and has you stuck and blocked. And so we all have self-doubt, okay, in certain areas of life. And if you listen to it, you're always going to lack self-confidence if you're not confident. And sometimes it's funny because I'll look at people that I think are so confident, and they are the people who don't have confidence. And I want to explain something. There's a difference between being self-confident and self-esteem. Self-confidence is your basically confidence in your ability to complete something or do something. Self-esteem has a little bit more to do with like your self-worth or your deserve level. And that's a whole different arena. Okay. But self-confidence comes from doing and accomplishing and showing and proving to yourself. So to become more confident, just tune out that inner voice and find new skills to master. Every time you do that, you are building that confidence in yourself. I'm going to tell you, when I started Mary Kay, I had pretty good self-esteem. I was really, really shy though. And I didn't have a lot of confidence, especially in talking to people I didn't know, standing up and talking in front of people and having attention on me, doing parties, even at Mary Kay meetings to introduce myself. Those were things I was not confident. And I remember thinking, and I'm just self-disclosing on myself a little bit, I'm a little, I've gone to college for 7 years. I have a degree. I'm not going to go peddle makeup. But then I would go to these meetings, and these women, they had what I wanted. They were happy. They were really supportive and happy for each other's success. And they could get up and talk in front of people. And that was not something that I felt confident in at all. So just right off the bat, it was like a big deal for me to overcome those things, to even start in Mary Kay at all, and to be able to even get up and talk at meetings. So that's where I started, just so that you all have hope. Okay. So again, to become more confident, find some skills to master. The more that you take on and master new skills, the more confidence you have. Wherever you lack confidence, give yourself a challenge to learn something new. Every week, just give yourself a challenge to learn at least one new thing each week, one little thing each week. And this is going to increase your confidence exponentially. The more that you take on and tackle, the more you want to try new things. It's like, I can do this. I'm doing that with technology. I'm learning new stuff all the time. When I started Mary Kay, by the way, we didn't have computers or cell phones or any technology whatsoever. And I delegated all of it because I was already a director, and so I've had to go back and relearn a lot of that stuff and build confidence. And for some people, it might be electronical kind of things. You don't have confidence in that. For some people, it might be directions or driving. So give yourself some challenges. And again, find little things that you can do each week so that you're excited about trying new things. So make a list of, a few things that you want to learn in the next few weeks. Just make a list. If there's things that have been on your list, and I'm going to make myself accountable here. I'm learning things right now on Zoom. And so I haven't tried them yet, but I'm going to. And so that's been kind of fun. It's like, oh my gosh, I got this. It's not that hard. But sometimes we build things up in our mind and we make it so much bigger than it is. So write down just a few things that you would like to tackle and learn. And then do one thing a week, one little thing a week to start building your confidence in those areas. And maybe it is about like doing different things on your eyes, a new eye trick, a new eye look. Maybe it is, layering different mascaras. Maybe it is, getting a new hairstyle, confidence to have a new hairstyle. I'm kind of going off topic here. Okay. So just mark down a few things that you are curious about or that you would like to learn. Number 4, maybe you feel like things are so out of control, like you've lost control. And I think that is such a theme right now. That's why I added this. That's such a theme for people of feeling like, what people used to feel like they had a grip on and they were grounded in, everything's changed and everything's changing fast, which creates more stress. Okay. So maybe you're feeling a little bit of loss of control. And this can lead to feeling a little bit overwhelmed. If you're not running your life, life is going to run over you. Okay. So start today and take active charge in one area of your life and expand from there. So write down one thing that you want to take action on currently in your life that you've been procrastinating, that you feel like you don't have control over. You don't necessarily have control over outcomes. So we've always learned in Mary Kay, you control the activity, allow God to control the results. So write down one thing right now that you currently want to take back control of in your life. Okay, number 5, maybe you are the type that ignores problems. Okay, like you like to put your head underneath. You like to sweep it under the rug or not acknowledge, because if you don't acknowledge it, doesn't exist. Maybe that's your MO. So ignoring a problem does not make it go away. Instead of putting your energy into dealing with the fallout from your problems, use it to face what's in front of you and work toward finding solutions. The more, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but the more you ignore something, the bigger it gets. Ask yourself if this is something that you have any control over. There's that little serenity prayer. If it's not something that you have control over, surrender it to the divine. If it's something that needs to be dealt with, I always like to play the question game with the universe. What would be my next best step in solving this problem? Who would I need to call? What resources would I need? Who would I need to reach out to? What would I need to learn? What do I need to let go of? Okay. Because another saying, I do a lot of Mary Kay-isms because I've been in for so long, and again, another thing I learned from our beautiful founder, if you're going to pray, don't worry. If you're going to worry, don't pray. And again, whatever you're worried about, you're actually giving energy to something you don't want. Because especially if you have strong emotion about it, you're actually drawing it into your life. That's how powerful we are. With our thoughts and feelings, we create and we magnetize to us. And so oftentimes, if you're thinking about something you don't want to happen, it's like a negative goal setting that you're focused on something you don't want and you're actually giving it attention. And so Bill Cantrell, one of my mentors and coaches, he said, don't spend 1 second of time thinking about anything you don't want to get bigger. Okay, so you don't want to ignore problems though, kind of on the other hand. So is this something that you have control over? If so, where would you need to go? What would you need to do? And a lot of times, if I have a problem, we'll just say a situation or a concern or a problem, I'll just kind of think about it before I go to sleep at night. Oftentimes, by the time you wake up, you kind of have a solution. And, tackling problems, it's a good idea to not do it from a reactionary state. Okay. If something's going on and you have a challenge in front of you, is to take some time and take a breather and, get into a good state of mind before you come up with a solution for it. Because, words and things that we, that we put out there from a place of reaction, we can't take them back. So, all right. Maybe number 6 is maybe you've stopped making plans and setting goals. So Mary Kay always said an idea without a plan is just a dream. And unless it's written down, it's not a goal, it's just a dream. So find enough faith in yourself to start setting goals and start working towards setting those ideas in motion. Well, a lot of you know that Heidi's daughter helped me. I hired her to clean out my closets in the back and, digging out a lot of old Mary Kay stuff that I've had for a long time. It's like, oh, there's that poster. And I was going through and I pulled these out because they're outdated. I put together, I don't know how many recruiting notebooks and dream books and things, almost everything in there, almost every single thing in there in my life. I mean, without exception, has come to pass for me. The home, the pool, the lifestyle, the flexibility, the putting Jesse through college. I could go on and on and on. Exercising regularly and all the things that I have had visions for, because our subconscious works in pictures. So that's why it's good to have a vision board out that you're seeing, even if you're not actively paying attention to it, your subconscious is picking up on it. And within a year, about 90% of it's going to come to pass. But I got off track a little bit. So it got me excited again about setting goals. So start with small, tangible, reachable goals. Start giving yourself small successes and break those big goals down into activity that you can actually focus on. So again, if you have a goal and you're not sure how to get there, get on Mary Kay in Touch, go under resources, pull out the advanced brochure, see what the steps are and break it down. So in Mary Kay, we know that the law of averages kind of on a company basis is about $100 a face in sales. So if you want $300 a week, you need to see 3 new faces. Now, eventually you'll get there in reorders. If you want a new team member, you need to share with 4 to 5 people to get a new team member. And maybe you're going to share with 10 before you get one, but you'll get a couple. It's mathematical, not magical. But in order to feel a sense of control, focus on the activity that you have control over and break it down. And if you need help with that, talk to myself or April. We can help you come up with a strategy or a plan to be able to reach the bigger goal that you have. So when we say long-term goal might be a year, short-term might be this month or this quarter, okay, depending on how you operate and how you work. So again, start by giving yourself some wins. That'll give you some confidence and some momentum. So right now, write down one of the goals right now that you would like to achieve this week. And it can be Mary Kay or not Mary Kay, I don't care. But write down one goal that you have, one thing that you want to achieve this week in your life or business. And you can mark these down if you need a little bit more time to kind of think about stuff tonight, because I would love for you all to go through and do all this tonight before you go to bed while it's fresh on your mind. Okay, number 8, maybe you don't believe in yourself. And I think this is the worst form of undermining is that what we do to ourselves. So the voices in our own head. And so tune it out and start giving yourself positive messages and surrounding yourself with positive people who believe in you. And nobody believes in you more than your Mary Kay recruiter or director. So kind of lean into that belief until you can have it for yourself. One of the things that you can do to start having some self-belief is to start calling upon some of the successes that you've had in the past. Okay. So take a minute right now and write down just some of the successes that you've had this last year in your life or your business. Sometimes we measure it based on, what we did this month, and the month flew by, January flew by. And, we're beating ourselves up because we're not where we wanted to be and all of that kind of stuff. Well, one of the things that I learned to Mary Kay a long, long time ago, forget the score and play the game. Today's a new day. Don't drag with you your regret from yesterday, because that robs you of your energy of moving forward. And again, you're not coming from a state of consciousness that's going to allow you to attract what you really want. So write down some of the successes you've had either in your life or your business this last year. That's a better way to measure your growth, instead of looking at yesterday or last week or last month or last quarter. What have you succeeded in? And for some people, it's just like, we got through 2020. We're still alive. Maybe okay, I'm not going to go off on tangents here. I'll let you guys pick for yourselves. All right. Number 9, maybe you have some programming around having negative thoughts. And that's a tough one. But sometimes it's your programming and your conditioning from when you're younger. And, Bill Cantrell always does this exercise with us where you fold the piece of paper, and he's talking about the group. You fold the piece of paper this way and that way and back and forth until it's really, really entrenched on the paper. You could actually just tear it apart really easy. And to make the example of, our brain and our neural paths in the brain are reinforced. So the more that we have those thoughts or thoughts that are like those thoughts, the more you're tracing those negative grooves in the brain. Negative, I'm not from a place of judgment, but negative being the opposite of positive, right? Not what you want, opposite of what you want. And when you think those negative thoughts, then it starts to attract more and more negative thoughts, and it builds up these little trees in the brain called dendrites, and they get thicker and fuller and fuller. And then pretty much you're conditioned and wired, in a sense, in a way to think negatively. And so again, it may not be your fault. It may be how you were conditioned, but you can do something about it. So it's hard to get, or impossible to get positive results from negative thinking. So it's very, very damaging to think negative thoughts. And a lot of times we're our own worst enemy, just describing. So when you catch your thoughts turning negatively, stop yourself in that moment and spend some time counteracting the negativity through positive affirmations. So I'm going to ask you to take some time tonight before going to bed and just write down some of your recurring thoughts that you might consider to be negative, that you think about yourself or about your ability or about your success. And write those down and then turn it into a positive affirmation. So a positive affirmation, in order for it to be effective, you want it to be first person positive present tense. So I am statements. I am, so present. And then you want to affirm what you want to have happen as if it's already happened, and put yourself in that state. So instead of I'm going to, or I want to, or my goal is, or my dream is, or I'm gonna, I am, or I am in the process of adding this many people to my team each week. I am seeing this many new faces each week. I am having this much in sales each week. I am profiting this much every single month from my Mary Kay business. And again, if it's too big of a jump from where you are to where you want to be, sometimes you'll have kind of a competing thought inside. So maybe you might need to do a process affirmation or affirmation. There's a book about it, where you say, I am in the process of attracting this many people to my team each and every week or each and every month in my Mary Kay business. I'm in the process of earning $100,000 or more every year in my Mary Kay business. Okay, so you could do the process one if that works for you. But take some time tonight to, again, write down some of the negative recurring thoughts. You don't have to have a lot of these affirmations, but 3 to 5 things that you tell yourself that are lies, right? That are limitations. And then turn it around into a positive affirmation. It's magical. And of course, in the book, Self-Talk Solutions from Shad Helmstetter, And many of the books that train on this say 3 times a day for 21 days. You need to do time-spaced repetition in order to retrace the negative groove into a positive groove. We can't just get rid of a negative thought. That doesn't work. Something will come back and replace it that's similar. So in order for us to shift our brain, literally, which we can wire out toxic thoughts and negative thoughts, then we need to replace it with a positive one. So affirmations, best way that I know to do this. And try to make an affirmation that you feel positive about. Because if your feeling center isn't believing it, it'll work against you. Okay, that's why affirmations don't work. So, if you feel like I'm lying to myself every time I say this, change the way that you're languaging it. And if you need help with that, again, love to help. All right, number 10, you just stop trying. You just got to a point where it's like, I'm not even going to put the effort in, why bother? So if you're waiting for the perfect time, it's never going to happen. Don't wait to be great. Don't get caught up in the when then game. When this happens, then I will do this. Or when my kids, Dina Spillman in Utah always does this great thing when she teaches classes. It's like, I'm going to wait until, the holidays are over, and then it's New Year's. And then, oh, we got Valentine's Day. I got to do all the cookies and the Valentines for my kid at class. And then, then it's spring. Oh, now we're on spring break. We're going to I'll do it after spring break, and then it is Easter. And then we're going to wait till Easter gets over. I got Easter stuff to do. And then, graduations, and, it goes on and on. Now it's summer break, and we're going on vacation. And so anyway, it's that when then game. There's never going to be a perfect time when all the lights are green on the freeway. So what can you do right now? Start right now. Don't put things off that you can do today. We create in this now moment. By the way, we cannot take action on a negative or something in the future. So your subconscious works in the power of now. So you want to work in the now. We create in the now. So here's the other thing that I've learned the hard way, and some of you have already probably experienced this, is the starting and the stopping. Okay. And from my perspective, that's one of the biggest killers of your dreams, because every time you stop, you have to build up your confidence, your skills, your momentum, and get your business airplane off the ground again. So every time you do this, it's going to be harder and harder to keep yourself going, and you can burn out after a while. So just keep yourself in motion. Even if you're not able to do a lot, keep yourself in motion. And that's why the daily bath, Tammy Crate came up with this a long time ago. It's an acrostic for B is 1 booking a day. A, I did my positive affirmations in the morning. T, I listened to some kind of training. And Mary Kay has a wonderful MK Media Library app that you can get right on your phone. So you could do it when you're working out, or throughout your day. You could listen with your headphones, or you can get on Mary Kay in Touch, or oh my gosh, I have a table full of CDs and tapes from back in the day when we used to get everything on tape. If so there's tons of training out there and available for you. And then H is listen to the $1 Million Hotline. Most of you have the $1 Million Messengers hotline. I think they even have it on Facebook. Some of you have T-Mobile and they charge you. So, but booking, affirmations, training, and listening to the hotline message from the $1 Million Daughter, the Daughters of the Nationals. If you did that alone every day, that would be 20 bookings a month. Even if only half of them held, that would be 10 for the month. Okay, so don't underestimate the small steps that you can do in your business to achieve big results. It really is those small steps. It's your daily routine. So don't stop trying. And the Zoom EEG, as Rena Tarbett says, you full speed ahead and dead stop. Again, the more that you do that, it's like priming the pump of the well. If you have one of those old-fashioned pumps, it takes quite a while, right? There's that gestational period until any water starts to come out, and then it flows. You stop priming the pump, the water stops. Then you have to start all over again, and it gets harder and harder each time. So keep yourself in motion, even if it's just a little bit every day. Heidi keeps saying, that one time when we did that challenge, I think it was last April, maybe it was, April, because of COVID and everything had shut down. And I gave everybody a challenge to get up, get dressed, get cute, get your face on, try to get out the door, listen to the hotline, small things that you could do. And she said that was her springboard to reigniting in her business, to the point now where she's director in qualification. And so we sometimes think, if I can't do it all, I'm just not even going to start right now. I'll do it later, whenever life is perfect. Good luck. You should live so long. Okay. Number 12, you blame lack of resources. Okay. And this is where I see people kind of putting their power outside of themselves. So even if you don't have everything you need, you can teach yourself to do what you can with what you have instead of spinning your wheels. There's not just one way in Mary Kay. There's not one right way to do anything. And seriously, you'll be surprised at how much you can accomplish just by giving some things a try. There's a lot of things that I don't really love. In fact, I never worm chattered until I was in my final month of DIQ. And I really needed to do something. I was kind of out of, resources and as far as new people and names. And I still was a little bit short because we did it really fast. We did it in 2 months and I was determined to finish so that Mary Kay would give me my new director oath on stage. And I wanted that purple suit with the big lapels. It's silly, but like, that's what I visualized. And I was like, whatever I have to do, I was willing to warm chat. Now that's my main way. Between that and booking from bookings, those are my 2 favorite ways to book. And so conversational booking is another word for that. So we have everything we could ever want or need to run a very successful business on Mary Kay in Touch. Remember when we started, I always go back to the olden days, but we had a book. It was about this thick. We had a book and it was the Mary Kay Consultant Guide. We called it the Mary Kay Bible. And my director, Ann Gossie, I'm a dominant personality and I'm fast paced. So if I couldn't figure something out, I would call her, because we didn't have computers. We had nothing like we have today. And so I would call her and she I obviously got tired of it. She would say, did you look it up in your new consultant guide? No. She'd say, go look it up. If you can't find it, call me back. Okay. So that was my training. And because if you look it up, you're going to remember it, right? You're going to know where it is and you're going to remember it. So I will tell you, if you were in Timbuktu, miles and miles away from a consultant or director, and all you had is Mary Kay in Touch, you could rock it and build a huge successful business. Kathy Goff, she was like a top $1 million director that became a national, and she did have that situation where she lived out in the middle of nowhere, and she just got everything she needed from her consultant guide. Okay, I mean from Mary Kay in Touch, and so everything you could ever, there's so much information. There's so much, almost too much information. So just pick the few things that work the best for you, but you have all the resources. Mary Kay has given us all the resources with digitally, with our apps, all of the things. We have this support. Even if you didn't have a recruiter or director, you would be able to do this business, but reach up, when you need a lift, don't talk to one of your sister consultants. We have a thing in Mary Kay, reach up. You have resources. So reach up to your recruiter or your team leader or your director in qualification, somebody who's already walked that path so they can help you walk and navigate through that. So reach up when you need a lift. But again, we can never blame lack of resources. We have heard story after story of women who came from nothing, even women who don't even have a high school education that are multimillionaires in Mary Kay and have reached that top pinnacle of success. So it is really up to you. Okay, number 13, maybe you're the type of person that you don't take responsibility. I know that I'm preaching to the choir here because you guys are here, you're on training, you're on Zoom every week, you're participating in your own growth and training and all that kind of thing. But whenever I have somebody say, I want to sign up under you because before I had this director and she was not a good director. Now, sometimes, we have personality things and things like that. But, if somebody is putting their success on somebody else outside of themselves, they're giving away their power. Again, when you take full responsibility for everything in your life, then you are in your power. You are empowered. So when you don't hold yourself accountable, because by the way, we try, but nobody else can hold you accountable. Truly, nobody else can make you do what you don't want to do. We can try to hold you accountable, but even with coaching, that's never going to work if it's not something that you hold yourself accountable to. So that would be the first thing to really start learning. Basically, you're saying that you can't count on yourself if you can't hold yourself accountable. And remind yourself daily, You're responsible for learning your skills, for keeping your attitude in a good place. You have all the resources for that with the hotline and the training and everything, and keeping yourself positive, and for the activity that you are willing to put in. And Mary Kay, you get out of it what you put into it. And that's a beautiful thing. Maybe some of you are at a place where, well, I just really enjoy the social and the fun and, connecting with other people and all that kind of thing. Maybe you're not in a place where you need a certain dollar amount of sales. Okay. So that is fine. And that's wonderful. We each get to choose what we want from the business. But at any given time, understand you are where you are and you're getting what you're getting because of what you're willing to put into it, and consistently, not a few minutes here, a few minutes there. Okay. If you're doing it that way, you're still going to probably get results, but maybe not the kind of results that you're after. So take a look at what you're wanting, break it down. And if you're not willing, and I just went through this with one of our consultants last week, we kind of broke it down and she says, gosh, I really don't have the time and really can't make Mary Kay that much of a priority to do that. Because when we really broke it down of like what it was going to take, she just really wasn't in a place where she could invest that. And it's like, okay, great. Then let's back down your goal. Let's make your goal in alignment with what you're willing to do and the kind of activity that you can put in. Otherwise, you set yourself up for failure. And I've done it. That, I've set goals that I wasn't willing to work for. Okay. And that's very undermining. So my suggestion is back down your goal a little bit and look at, okay, if I'm not willing to do this amount of activity on the average, then don't expect those kind of results. Okay. That's the whole definition of insanity, is doing the same thing and expecting different results. So sometimes you need to make sure that you're lining up your activity with what it is that you're saying that you want. Okay. This is something that, I think we talk about this more and more, is the power of being present. Being present. It's said that 80% of success is actually just showing up and being present. So commit to be where you're needed, whatever that looks like, in mind, body, and spirit. Wherever you are, there you go. Okay. Wherever you are, there you go. So wherever you are, be there. And I'm not going to lie. Sometimes this has been hard for me when I'm around a big group of people. I'm kind of sensory overload. And, I jokingly just say I'm a little ADD when it comes to being around a lot of people. Mary Kay, like, she was a master at being with whoever was right in front of her. And she was such a model for that for me. Still don't have it mastered, but wherever you are, just be with the people that you're with. Be in that place, be present, be grounded in that moment. Okay. This is it. This is all we have. One of my mentors always used to say, if you miss the joy of it, you miss all of it. And most of the time, I just had this conversation with my little sister this morning, because we're all very highly productive, me and both of my sisters, and we were taught, to work for things that we wanted, and, strong work ethic and fast pace and, getting a lot done. And she said, somebody came to her and said, do you do everything that fast all the time? And so we were talking about that this morning, about just the power of taking a minute and slowing down. It doesn't take any more time to be present. You can still get things done fast. But if you're not present, you're missing all of it. You miss the joy of it. You miss all of it. And when you're not present and when you're not grounded, half the time you don't even, you ask yourself, why am I even doing this? If you're just going through the motions, Mary Kay always said, you can do everything wrong with a good attitude and still be really successful. She said 90% of this business is attitude. It's what's going on between, this 6 inches in between your ears. Okay. And so that whole, being where you are, being present, and, being willing to be in the moment. And, I do that when I'm doing facials and parties or sharing the marketing. You can get wrapped up in your excitement and you're passionate about it. And people feel that comes across. So, so be present and show up, be where you need to be. All right. Number 15, maybe you have a fear of failure, and actually the fear of failure and the fear of success is kind of the same thing. So I'm going to cover that together. Don't allow yourself to be paralyzed by fear. Again, fear is false evidence appearing real. It's not even real. It's a lie. It's something you made up. Okay. Remember that if you give it your best, if you give it your best shot and you fail, you learned something valuable to prepare you for whatever's coming next. And I find it too that, maybe not everything are things that you're going to want to always do in your business, but be willing to try it. If you let fear persuade you to not even try, you'll be left with nothing but regret. And most of what you fear, like I said, is never going to happen. The mind cannot focus on fear and faith at the same time. So choose. Am I going to be in faith or am I going to be in fear? And, when I was a little girl, I don't even know how I started this or when or why, but I remember, being in 4-H probably helped. 4-H, was a lot of personal development back in the day and leadership skills for me. But I would say to myself, am I going to regret this? And I do this in my Mary Kay business. Am I going to regret not talking to that sharp girl that just helped me at the bank? Am I going to regret it if I don't offer my card to her? If I see somebody sharp, maybe I've met at a restaurant that, maybe a waitress that's helped me, or somebody that serviced me at the grocery store or at the post office. Am I going to feel regretful or remorseful if I don't, say something to them or somehow bring up Mary Kay in that conversation? Sometimes we don't get do-overs in those situations. So it's kind of a game I play with myself. And I think somebody said at one time, have 5 seconds of courage. And if you need the words, for me, I just keep it really, really simple. If I've enjoyed dialoguing or talking to somebody, or if they've given me great service, I might say something like, it has been so much fun, being serviced by you, or you've given me such great service. I would love to get to know you more. Do you mind if I offer you my card? And she has no idea what I'm doing. And she's like, oh, Mary Kay, or, oh, Mary Kay, or, oh, Mary Kay, like, what's that? And then based on her response, you can go from there. But that's been my go-to. Do you mind if I offer you my card? Or could we exchange business cards? If you meet somebody at, an event or a networking thing, almost everybody has business cards nowadays. If you know that they're in business, can we exchange cards? I'd love to follow up, or, send you some samples, or, jump on my website for a 10% discount on your first order, or whatever. I could go on and on. So that's more about scripting. But again, when you fear failure, you're focused on that instead of being focused on faith. So turn your dial from fear to faith. Okay, number 16, sometimes you can get blocked or get into resistance because you're your own worst enemy. And again, sometimes other people have belittled you throughout your life. And so you feel that you cannot achieve. So when you think about, how you talk to yourself or how you limit yourself, how would you like it if somebody talked to your daughter that way? Or your son, if you have sons, that way? Would you allow anybody else, or would you talk to your best friend that way? And so many times it's not anything outside of us. We're our own worst enemy, of what are those ruminating thoughts in the mind that are not true. They're lies. Okay. So take those thoughts captive, affirm an opposite positive affirmation. Tell yourself the truth about who you are. You are a spark of the divine. You are a creator. You can happy and do anything that you choose to. So talk nice to yourself. Okay, number 17, sometimes it is just having that lack of courage to take that step. So I kind of talked about the 5 seconds of courage. I don't know if that's 5 seconds or 7 seconds. I can't remember. So before you stop yourself, okay, within about the first 5 seconds, oftentimes people stop themselves from taking that next step. And that's when you have regret or remorse. So too often we think that courage is an absence of fear. But courageous people experience it just like anybody else. They just overcome it because their commitment is bigger. Their opportunity is bigger than their obstacle, or their commitment is bigger than their lack of courage. So ask yourself, am I committed to what it is that I say that I want? And if not, change your goal. Number 19, comparison. This is a really big one that can really stop you in your tracks. As you start looking around at what other people are doing. And again, the saying is, we compare our weaknesses to other people's strengths and we always come up short. Okay. So unless you know their heart, their mind, their circumstances, their journey, as well as your own, you can't compare yourself to other people. It's a waste of time. You didn't come here to live somebody else's life or journey. You have your own. You came here to learn and master and experience different things in your life. So when you compare yourself is where you start to get a sense of, a positive way to compare is to get a sense of how far you've come, how far you've come. And so I like to leave other people out of it and not compare. If you're going to compare, it's like, well, she did it, so can I. That's kind of how I've always been. Well, if it's been done before, I can do it too. Or if it hasn't been done before, I'm going to be the first to do it, right? I used to be really competitive. I'm still a little bit, but not nearly as much as I used to be. But you compete with yourself. You don't compete with other people. And so one of the things that I always like to do when you're doing that is, compare to where you are today versus a week ago, a month ago, a year ago. Okay. And measure that in your comparison. Look how far you've come. Compare to your own, best, beating your own best. That would be a positive, healthy way to go into comparison, but not with anybody else. You're not, and you don't have the same life or journey or circumstances. Okay, so just a couple cool quotes. And I might just send you guys my whole notes. I might just send that out to everybody because there's just a lot of good little pearls in here. But these are some great quotes that I've gathered in the area of emotional management, because that's really what this is. Again, Mary Kay said 90% of it's attitude. Anybody can learn the skills, right? And be a millionaire in Mary Kay. Yes, I will send out the notes. Okay, so inactivity is the dark room where negatives are developed. Blessings are chasing me down and overtaking me. I put that in my affirmations. My checkbook is exploding with an infinite stream of income. You have to be willing to change your thoughts, not just working harder. Remember, we talked about the consciousness that you're coming from is going to be determine the caliber of your results, especially sustainability. So you have to be willing to change your thoughts. Don't just keep doing the same thing and working harder. Nothing wrong with working hard. Don't take advice from anyone you wouldn't trade places with. That is such a go-to for me. We are where we are by the thoughts we think and the choices we have made. Busy is not a condition. Busyness is a personality, and so is laziness. Work from commitment, not emotion. A pity party is the most expensive party you will ever have for yourself. And if you have to have a pity party, this is not in my notes, but give yourself a 5-minute pity party and get over it, because nobody's coming to your pity party. Nobody's having fun. This is another one. If it's not positive, it's negative. There's really no such thing as neutral thoughts. I mean, there kind of is, but if it's not positive, it's negative. When you're talking about something or someone, if it's not positive, it's negative. Okay. And in closing, and then we'll open it up. We might have just, it's already 8 o'clock. Oh, I talked a long time. Sorry, guys. Okay. In closing, what is it that you just close your eyes for a second? Okay. I want you guys to kind of listen to this story. And this is not mine, but I loved it. It kind of wraps up everything, encapsulates what I wanted to share. What is it that you really, really want? And what is keeping you from it? What is it that lies between where you want to be and where you are now? What is it that stands between the person that you are today and the person that you want to be? It's not someone, and it's not something. It's not your circumstances, and it's not your job. It's not your childhood or even your kids. And it's definitely not fate or karma. It is your thoughts. In particular, the thoughts of yours that do not include your wished for reality and their images of who you are today. The ones hiding behind a fear or two that see your dreams coming true in the future instead of in the present. The ones that affirm, not here, not now, not yet, I'm not ready. Thank goodness it's not a reality thing that's left you without. Thank goodness it's not just a matter of your thoughts. Sorry, thank goodness it's just a matter of your thoughts. Your thoughts, because those are yours and you can change them today. Just think new ones, like the kind that say, I am, or right now, or something like, thank you, universe, that it is already done. You are the creative adventurer zooming through time and space, endowed with the power to think new thoughts, even while facing circumstances that you would have, that would have you think otherwise. Whatever it is that you really want lies only a thought away. A thought of yours, that's it. That's all. Nothing else matters. There are no maybes, no ifs, no mitigating factors, not karma, not fate, not luck. No matter what you want to have, be, or do, the universe has to give it to you. If you hold on and move with those thoughts, it is the law, and your entire life has been proof of it. And that's from Mike Dooley, which so many of us love so much. He has a website called TUT.com, TUT, totallyuniquethoughts.com. And you can actually sign up to get notes from the universe every day. I love his little notes from the universe. But it just encapsulated so much, everything I believe to be true, and kind of wrapped up the training for tonight. So I just want to open it up really quick. Let's put it back on speaker view or gallery view. And does anybody have any questions at all? And again, I want to remind you that, we're just a phone call away, myself and April, and up and coming director Heidi. And again, Mary Kay was so brilliant in how she set up our marketing plan, so that we could take a step at a time. We've walked where you're going to walk. So anything that you will need to do or participate in or learn, most chances are we've done it. Things have changed a little bit in Mary Kay, but it's available to you. So thank you so much for letting us go a little bit longer tonight. We try to keep the Zooms to right around an hour. Our live in-person meetings will be probably closer to 8 o'clock, but thank you for your guys' time and attention tonight. And I hope this was valuable for you.
Denise, I just have to say thank you. You were amazing, and that was fabulous. And I'm so excited you're going to share your notes. I wrote copious notes, and I still couldn't quite keep up with you. So
I talk a little fast, but this is just, a lot of years of experience in Mary Kay and otherwise. So I'm happy to share all of it. Absolutely. All right, you guys. Well, that wraps it up for tonight. And take some time after you get off and, go through those exercises, okay? Write down, some of those limiting beliefs and thoughts and action steps. And, you can be in the question of what do I need to do? What do I need to learn? Where would I need to go? Who would I need to call? What action step would I need to make? And you'll be given the answer. You don't come up with the answer. You just come up with the question and it will come to you. Just be connected that way. And remember, we are all connected. Anything you can ever want, it takes other people for us to be able to achieve our goals in Mary Kay. And so open up. And what I do is I go around all day sending telepathic, hello, I care about you, sending you love, sending you light, all that kind of thing. And it kind of opens the door, especially if you encounter somebody that's a little bit closed off. Send them some love. They probably need it right now. You guys agree?
Yes.
All right. Love you all. Have an awesome night. Thanks for your attention. We'll get you the notes. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.